In this video, I'm going to explain and show you why all good artists in this world are privileged. And no, that isn't clickbait. But hear me out, and hopefully by the end of it, at least half of you will agree with me. To be a great artist, even a decent one with decent art fundamentals, you have to spend a lot of time drawing. Not just drawing mindlessly, but drawing to study. Drawing to practice all the time. Learning new skills and studying and beating those studies into your brain countless hours and maybe even years. Now you see the glaring problem here, right? Hours and years is a lot of time. In this world, hours and years don't just fall on your lap. You have to force this lifestyle on yourself, and to want to be really good, you have to almost be obsessed. That brings me to the first privilege good artists have, and that is the love, passion, and inclination toward the subject of art itself. A lot of artists begin their journey by finally taking their art seriously because they just have to do it, or maybe they're deciding on a career in it. They love it. It fills them full of purpose. They are creators. They have to make something with their hands, and the visual arts is their vessel to do that. The problem with that is not everyone is born with that passion. Can passion be learned? I suppose, but in most cases I have found in my personal experience, it is inherent within an artist. They're artists from the womb in some form or another. Some artists aren't born with that passion or perseverance to improve upon their skills. Some just want to doodle messy, and that's okay. But the really excellent artists pushed either their creativity or their artistic skills to other levels. They were born to rise to greater heights because, in my opinion, they were simply born with a greater passion and joy to create. The very inheritance of being born with something so great like the strong desire to create and improve upon your skills is the very definition of privilege. And that's a good thing. Privilege isn't used in a negative or positive connotation here. It's acknowledging what is and isn't. Not everyone cares to create and master their skills, and you do. That's amazing privilege. But what else does it take to master skills in the arts? Well, it takes time, passion, art supplies, and yes, money. Art supplies can cost a lot, and considering whether you want to go digital or traditional, that really doesn't lower your cost all too much. Sure, if you want to buy some copy paper, you can draw to your heart's content with very little cost to you, but say you want to buy a set of paints, maybe some brushes. How about drawing mediums and an easel, canvases, panels, going digital, tablets, styluses, a computer powerful enough to run those digital programs, arguably more costly. Making prints, those cost money. Printing your own quality prints, that's going to cost a lot upfront. How do you pay for this? Will your parents pay for all of this? Will you? Do you have any family supporting your art goals? Let's assume you're already on your way to paying for those supplies. Let's say you had that support. Say you lived in a city that had jobs to support your art goals. Maybe you have friends or a family that does support your art dreams, that do help you pay for those supplies. One could say you're lucky. One might not be crazy to say you're very privileged to have such support from your family, or to live in a city where there are jobs that's going to help you pay for your art goals, or to be healthy enough to work a certain job to pay for those art supplies to get better at your craft. That's amazing privilege, and it's okay to recognize that. A lot of artists don't talk about some of the obvious secrets of the success of good artists, but let's tell it now. In order to get a lot of attention and make connections as an artist, you have to get not only your art out there, but your face out there. People will become more aware of you if you take part in actual art shows and events, and yes, actually making conversation with other artists, organizers, and curators. They'll have a living, breathing person with a story to attach to the art. There's a big elephant in the room, isn't there? And that's that a lot of people, not just artists, don't really like to schmooze, not even with other artists. Just because we're artists doesn't mean we all like each other or enjoy each other's company. But I'll tell you by experience, that's how you make connections. And through connections, you get more mentions, more follows, and more attention, which can turn to more work. But not all of us are natural conversationalists. A lot of us are introverted, and that's just how we're born. It's nothing we can control. Can you learn to network and socialize through practice? Yes, but it will be so much harder for the introverted. One might say that someone who enjoys networking and meeting new people are privileged. And hey, good for you for having that social tool set. Some of us aren't so lucky. Let's talk about the biggest privilege good artists have. It's the most important and elusive commodity anyone on this earth has. and that is time. Let's assume you had the passion, money, and social skills, but no time to study and draw. Maybe you have a family to take care of, work full-time, or work 2 jobs. Let's assume at the end of the day you were just too tired to set up your easel and paints because you gotta get some sleep and do it all over again the next day. Or maybe you have some life-altering situation that's just not allowing anything else in your life. I'm betting someone else doesn't have that problem and has 3 hours to study and paint 7 days a week. This artist will improve so much faster because they have the luxury of extra time to improve their craft. That more fortunate artist doesn't know how lucky they are to be able to have time to absorb so much knowledge, while the not so fortunate artist wants to learn so bad but life circumstances are just not allowing it. Their location, their socioeconomic conditions just make it so much harder to not only study, but to even believe in those art goals in the first place. If you have a lot of time to study and improve on your craft, well, it's got to be said again, you have privilege. Maybe it's not a lot, but someone has it worse and harder. It's mostly because of the circumstances they find themselves in for many reasons that are beyond their control. And having time is seriously OP. It'll get you to your goals faster, literally. I hope by this time you'll agree that good artists are privileged, but for the underprivileged, I want to say a few things. Yes, for the artists that made good, not all of them were rich. Not all of them had lots of time or social skills. I'm sure a lot struggled. Perhaps not as much as you, however, after all of those privileges they had, they still started with 0 art skill. They still needed to learn how to draw. Art skills aren't something you're born with. Did they have a running start? Factually, they did, and no one is arguing that, but they still grinded their art fundamental studies. Drawing and painting skills is not something money can buy. Yeah, you can buy the art course, but you have to learn it and study and retain it. I really hope the underprivileged artists don't allow those out of control life circumstances to cause you to quit. Is it going to be harder for you? Absolutely. Is it fair? Absolutely not. I hope you push through it all. Do your best to find a way through finding support and time and the means to achieve those goals. I know it's easier said than done. It took me 10 years to get to a point where I'm actually happy with where I am with my art and my art growth. And I have to say, I got there because of some of those privileges that I had. And some of those underprivileges I also had. And I learned all of this in spite of all of that. So I guess I'm saying I know how hard it is to stay hopeful when you know you're years behind because of lack of ambition or a lack of money, which were the 2 biggest underprivileges that I had. I know I didn't have it the worst, and I recognize my privileges in some of those areas. It'll take longer, and you will work harder than others to get where you want to be and to get to the same places that they are, but I implore you to do it anyway, even if out of spite like I did. If I can keep to my goals, I know you can. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. I hope I didn't upset too many people, and I hope most of you will agree with me. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.